Yo, boom. The thing goes grrr, pop, 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 skitty, keep, pop, 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 and the poop.
3, 2, 1. Yo, what is up, everyone? It is the Clayconator back again for another video. Welcome to another episode of Prisons, except we are changing prison into a podcast. So, yeah, let's do this. First topic, the NFL draft. Now, I'm going to go while I'm waiting for everything to smelt, I'm going to bring up the NFL draft and see where everyone got picked. So, and you know what else is a good idea? Is if we talk about like the standings for the NFC East and NFC or NFC East and NFC West.
Standings? Like predicted?
Predicted, and also like where how close is everyone from the top? All right, so we're gonna go.
Okay.
We're gonna go to the Niners and the Giants picks. Did you have a first round pick?
Yeah.
Where did you guys pick up? Oh, you picked at 4. So you pick up
Just one this year.
At the 4th overall. The Giants picked up Andrew Thomas, tackle.
Best tackle in the draft.
Best tackle in the draft. So, are you happy for him? Or like,
Extremely.
All right.
Best tackle in the draft. Started every year at Georgia. Ridiculously good on both sides of the line. 10 times better than Nate Solder, who somehow managed to give up more sacks than Eric Flowers last year. And then in the third round, we got. So what I'm hoping that we do is put Andrew Thomas at left tackle. He'll stay there for a decade. Move Solder over to right tackle for the time being, and or just get rid of him completely, because we also got Cam Fleming as a backup tackle, who was on the Cowboys, and then in the third round we got this guy Matt Parrott from UConn, who he's a really good like developmental prospect. So give him a year or two, and he can step in for Solder.
Okay.
And then that's a solid like bookends of the line for years to come.
Okay.
Obviously, Parrott is like no sure thing, but
Yeah.
it's the most offensive line hope we've had for years.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants ended up getting the 4th overall pick. They picked a good. I'm gonna take it from what you're saying. He's a good player.
Yes,
I'm gonna take
very.
it. So then we're gonna go to my Niners. So just a background for anyone, because when I was in school, everyone would call me a bandwagon. So yeah, that was very fun.
Well, that's because you decided to get a bunch of Warriors gear when the Warriors were good.
Okay, here's the thing. All right. Let's just.
I understand that you've been a Bay Area fan, but
it seemed a little sus. I understand. Also, so my mom's family lives in California. Everyone on her side lives in California currently. What else? Yeah, that's about it. So I live in the East Coast, so it's not.
What else? Yes.
Yes. So it's like E, bro. Remember E? Oh.
E.
E. But yeah, so it's been fun, I guess, because the Niners were good when I was younger. They were good way better before I was born. And then they got to the Super Bowl this year, so I was very happy. But we traded the Niners. Why am I saying we? The Niners traded DeForest Buckner to the Colts for the 13th overall pick.
What a move, honestly. Power move.
Power move.
With the pick, you just pick a new one.
Now hold up. Here's the thing. Then we moved back one. The Niners moved back one, which wasn't expected, because the Bucks were right there, right after us. I don't know why the Bucks wanted to move back. I'm guessing it was because the Niners would probably take their pick if
it was who'd they get? Wirfs?
Who yes,
the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah, Wirfs. I understand that because Wirfs was the only top tackle left.
But the Niners ended up filling a hole and getting Javon Kinlaw with the 14th overall pick after they traded out of the 13th. I was very happy with that pick because even though I don't watch college football and I know absolutely nothing about college football. I feel like he's a good player. Plus, like everyone's gassing him up. So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be happy this year again because we had the best. Like the Niners had the best passing offense or passing defense. No one like they. I was very surprised because they normally didn't do good on passing defense, but they did very well this year. Number 1 in the league, even though we stopped Patrick Mahomes for almost an entire game, which normally doesn't happen. So I was kind of happy. I was fine with losing as long as we stopped Patrick Mahomes and we know how to get back there. As long as we have a good team, I'm fine. Otherwise, I'm gonna start crying. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, watch it.
Yo,
Don't disrespect the not good teams, all right?
But I feel like Javon Kinlaw was a good G tackle pick. We filled in G tackle, and yeah, I just felt like that was a good pick. He was the top rated D tackle in the draft, so I was very happy with that. Next up on the list, the 25th pick, the Niners had the 30th and the 13th because they traded. They had the 30th because they came second in the Super Bowl, and then they also had
13th was from the
13th
Colts.
was from the Colts. So next up is the 25th pick, which the Niners got.
Traded up for, right?
They traded up for because they found the receiver that they wanted was still on the board. Brandon Ayuk. Now, me as a fan,
I'm assuming you watched film of him since the draft, right?
I've watched a little bit. I've read articles and watched what the articles had for film, but I haven't watched too much film. I don't really know if he's. I can't really put my opinion out there because I haven't watched that much film, so I'm not putting my opinion out there right now. But I personally, Jack knows this, is on draft day. I wanted CD Lamb.
Yeah, you were pissed when they picked Kinlaw.
Well, I wasn't pissed.
Instantly,
was
just because Lamb was still on the board.
I? Oh yeah,
Kinlaw.
I really wanted CD Lamb. CD Lamb is probably my favorite player in the draft. Besides, nope, yeah, he was my favorite player in the draft. Yeah, so I was very mad, but I kind of like the pick now that it's been picked. Y'all are just digging out below.
Yeah, that's the fun way to do prison when you have, you know.
I'm just taking all the ores that sell for a lot so I can get to free man.
Yeah, but that's why I'm just chilling here digging out the whole mine, even though it's gonna reset once I get like a layer down. Anyway, continue.
Wait, did I run out of emerald space? No, okay, I just ran out of diamond space. Okay, so what I'm gonna trust in Kyle Shanahan because he's an offensive genius. He turned Deebo Samuel into an amazing player last year, which isn't just Kyle Shanahan. Deebo Samuel was. Oh yeah, Deebo Samuel was
already
good.
A good player.
Well, yes, but Deebo Samuel and Kyle's offense is amazing. So.
Well, I mean, he came out of college as a pass catching running back, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
And that's what he was used as.
Like I really like Deebo. Like besides George Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo, probably
Pettis disappointed me so much.
Dante Pettis.
Yeah, because he was good in college, real good.
He was good in college, and then he was Jimmy G's best favorite target.
Deebo?
And then no, Dante Pettis.
How? With Deebo, Goodwin.
No. So when they first started, 2017.
Okay.
And then in 2018, I think it was still Dante Pettis. Actually, no, he didn't play in 2018. Jimmy didn't play in 2018. Well, he played the first 2 games, and then the third game he got injured. But Dante Pettis is pretty much his favorite. I mean, then Emmanuel Sanders was the favorite, I would say. At least in the latter half of the year. But I feel like our receivers are really good now because we have Brandon Ayuk is a good receiver. Deebo Samuel is really good. George Kittle's freaking amazing. I love George Kittle. I love him. He's my favorite player. Probably of all time. It's like, it used to be Patrick Willis, but now I think George Kittle's probably my favorite of all time. Because he's just so vibrant. I love him. He's so cool. I wish I could meet him. Yeah, so we got that. Enough on the tangent. Does it show the second round? It doesn't. All right, never mind. But the second.
Well, do you know your team's picks? Because I think I have the whole draft memorized on the Giants draft, at least.
Well, I know our 7th round pick. I don't know the rest. Oh, and Jalen Hurts coming back, so that should be good. Because Jalen Hurts is like a running back too. For
a second, I thought you said Jalen Hurts.
Oh no, Jalen
And
Hurts.
I was like, what? That was a dumb pick by the Eagles.
Yeah. They already have. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about, actually, before we go on to the rest of the draft. Just talk about the rest of the first round picks. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow to the Bengals.
Haha, Packers. Packers funny.
Oh yeah, bro. The Packers might have just screwed themselves over. But let's talk about the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow. Good player.
Good
player.
Bengals are going to murder his career, though. I feel so bad for him.
I mean, they're like the Browns.
You're talking about a team that plays in Cincinnati and doesn't have an indoor practice facility in Cincinnati, Ohio. Like, yes, the Browns have been bad, but the Bengals as an organization are terrible.
True.
Like, they were the worst possible place for him to go and actually develop. A team that loses Marvin Lewis as their head coach and gets so much worse is not a good team.
Well,
like, everyone thought that it was just because of him, but he was the only reason that they were relevant, it seems.
Well, okay, here's the other thing. Andy Dalton is not a bad quarterback. I mean, he's had his ups and downs, but overall, I feel like he's not that bad of a quarterback. But
he's fine. He's like a Flacco.
Yeah, except Flacco's,
just without the Super Bowl.
Except Flacco's big trash now.
Well, so's Dalton.
Well, Andy's kind of kept it consistent. Flacco didn't.
Flacco's been consistently not as good as he was during the Super Bowl run.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that Super Bowl run was okay. Do you think Flacco was carried by his defense that year? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but there are a lot of quarterbacks that win the Super Bowl that aren't Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks.
Here's the thing. Kaepernick at the time was a better Super Bowl quarterback than Joe Flacco.
I don't think he was better in the Super Bowl.
Not in the Super Bowl, but leading up to it, Kaepernick was a better quarterback.
Okay, yeah, you said Super Bowl though, which that's what made me think.
Well, okay.
I mean, yeah, he was a really solid starting quarterback.
And
like, I have nothing against him.
The only thing that
which I guess is a controversial take, but
the only thing that I didn't like about the Niners when Kaepernick was quarterback was after the Super Bowl, our O-line, it was terrible. Like, besides Joe Staley, our O-line went down. I'm sorry. It just... I found it in a portal.
Hey. Oh, mine reset.
Jack, here's the portal.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, thanks. Oh, you picked it up. Okay.
But I feel like leading up to the Super Bowl that season, and some of the seasons following, I mean, Kaepernick wasn't a terrible quarterback. He led them back to another Super Bowl.
He's...
championship.
He's better than a lot of other teams' starting quarterbacks. Like, he was solid. He was not great. He was not even, like, particularly good, but he was, like, middle of the road. He was a starting caliber quarterback.
Exactly. But I loved Kaepernick. That's the thing. Like, I really liked him. Until he
it was fun to watch.
Until he started, that thing that he did a couple of years ago that derailed his career. But
he didn't do anything wrong. He just got blackballed by the league.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just he's fighting for a good cause. He was fighting for a good cause. It's just the way he did it might have.
He didn't do anything wrong. There's still players doing that today that have jobs.
Yeah, but he's sat. No one is sat, I don't think.
Yeah, people have.
Really?
Eric Reed still has a job.
Okay,
and
Eric
he
Reed,
should.
I don't think Eric Reed sat, though. I thought he just kneeled. That's what I thought. I thought Eric Reed just kneeled. I didn't know he signed. Well, I don't know. Well then, Kaepernick should get his job back, and that's facts, because he's not that. He's probably still a decent quarterback.
I mean, at this point, he's kind of screwed. But
Here's the thing: imagine if instead of getting Cam Newton, Belichick got Cap.
Cam Newton's better, much better.
See, I don't know if I can agree with that. The only reason why I don't think I can agree with
He's
that
been
is-
injured the last 2 years, but aside from that, he's been an MVP candidate. I mean, I can name you quarterbacks that are worse, but
Oh,
like-
yeah, well, you can name half the league.
yeah. No, not half the league that it's worse, I don't think, that are starting quarterbacks right now.
Well, half the league that's worse than Cam Newton.
Then Cam Newton,
Think
Sure.
Think the Patriots.
I'm still not particularly high on Cam Newton, but I think that he's better than Kaepernick.
I would have think Kaepernick was better.
No.
Cam Newton. Only
He
but that's-
wasn't
but
accurate.
that's- that's only
He
'cause I'm
really
biased.
he could run, he could throw hard, but he was a bit like Josh Allen, honestly, which is a really bad comparison to make, but can run and can throw hard, but the accuracy isn't there as much, but you can still lead a team to victory on a regular basis.
Well, also you got to take into account that defense when Cap was quarterback with the Niners was super good.
Yeah, but he could still put up points.
Well, he could still put a point, yeah, but like that defense, like it's like the Ravens defense. Like the Niners defense and the Ravens defense is very similar. They had two really good linebackers, or well, okay, the Niners had two really good linebackers. The Ravens had Ray Lewis. I don't know the other.
The Ravens
I didn't know
also
the other
had-
linebacker.
I mean, they also had Suggs, even
Okay,
though he
so
was an
yeah.
edge rusher.
Okay, so yeah, two good linebackers. Each team had two good linebackers. They had a decent quarterback, both teams. They had was Eric Reed on the team when they went to the Super Bowl? I don't
I
know.
believe so.
I don't even remember that. It's 2012, dude. I think he was though. So Eric Reed, they had two good safeties, except Ed Reed was way better than Eric Reed.
Much, much better.
Way better. Like Hall of Fame caliber versus decent starter his entire career. Like good starter. So the teams are very similar. The D line of the Niners. Okay, can we just take into appreciation that like the Niners defensive line both times they went to the Super Bowl in the 2000s, like the D line was amazing both years. And it could have been even better if Alden Smith stayed out of trouble. Like if Alden Smith stayed out of trouble, we might have had Alden Smith breaking the 49er sack record. Because Alden Smith was good. What am I gonna throw out? Actually, I'm just gonna sell things. But, yeah. So, second pick, Chase Young. The second
Oh,
pick-
we're just going down one by one. I was prepared to talk about all 7 rounds
Oh no, we'll talk about 7 rounds.
of the Giants.
Oh, we'll talk about 7 rounds next video. But I want to do 3 today.
Okay.
So next one up, Chase Young.
Best player in the draft, but I'm not scared of the Redskins at all.
Here's the thing.
Like, the
Here's-
funniest thing is, well, no, as a Giants fan, I see so much of the stuff that Redskins fans say about their team, and watching all the things they say about their like front seven is hilarious because the only person that's really good is Chase Young, but then they act like they have like 8 or 9 really good pass rushers. And no, I wasn't scared of their pass rush before, and I'm not really scared now because, like, if you have one good tackle, then they can neutralize Chase Young all right, and then there's nobody else that can really do anything.
Yeah, like, what I just have to say is Chase Young it was a good pass rusher in college. Here's my thing on Chase Young. I don't think he's going to be that good in the NFL. And hear me out for this. Chase Young relied on his edge rush. He didn't do what Joey Bosa does when he came out and do like all the other moves that you can do. He relies on his turn. So like when he goes out of his thing, he doesn't he doesn't bull rush. He does bull rush, but not often. He doesn't bull rush often. He doesn't like do any move often. He just tries to go around the edge, and he's fast enough to do that.
He can do that. Well, actually, I think he uses his bull rush more often, I thought, but he can get away with only using one pass rush move because it works all of the time because he's such a physical freak. But the thing is, he's shown over and over that he still has those other moves and that they work. He just doesn't need to use them if he can consistently get pressure another way.
But here's the thing. Do you really think that's going to work in the NFL? Like with tackles that have
don't think that what you're saying, if you have one move, will work. But I'm telling you that he has all of the other moves. He's much more polished than Bosa was coming out. Maybe not polished is the right word, but he's better than Bosa was coming out.
Well, of course
and he's going to be better in the NFL.
Well, of course, Bosa is better than he was better than Bosa coming out. But I'm just with offensive tackles like being in the pros being way better than they are. Like being way better than the tackles in college.
One-on-one, he could beat the best tackles in college easily.
Well, yeah.
It's towards the end of the season when he got double and triple teamed every play that people were like, "Oh, he's falling off. He's not recording any stats."
But that's all you
because literally more than half the line is sitting on him.
But that's what you have to do to beat him. I mean, if he does that, then how is he going to get out of that? That's my question.
You don't get out of a triple team, but there's more than three edge rushers. There's more than three pass rushers on most plays. If you are eating up three of the pass blockers, that opens up the rest of the defense to do so much. Like he wishes he was triple teamed every play because that would cause such a disruption for everything else.
I would actually double team him and then make the other three guys go one-on-one with the other defensive lineman.
But no matter how you double team him, like almost every team, maybe not the Redskins because the Redskins are bad, but like there are very few teams that have the offensive line to consistently get away with doing that and actually be able to neutralize him because he can still beat double teams really well.
All right, okay, I have a question. Who do you think is the best tackle in the league right now?
I don't know, because last year was really weird.
Because I'm gonna put my bet on Trent Williams. Like when he
I don't know, because he took time off, and taking time off usually isn't good for getting right back into it. And I'm not blaming him for it. He held out for a good reason. But I don't want to assume that he'll be what he was 2 years ago when he starts playing.
Oh yeah, no. But like when he gets back into his groove, he's the best tackle in the league. So my question to you is, if Trent Williams at his best, do you think he can beat, or do you think he can stop Chase Young?
Yes, but he could stop any pass rusher in the league.
So you just put a really good tackle on him, and
okay, but a team can do that with anyone. You can neutralize anybody if you put like an elite tackle on them. Like if you put one of the top 3 tackles in the NFL on an edge rusher, any edge rusher, they're not going to do well. But not every team has that kind of tackle. Not every team will do that every play because they'll line up on different sides of the line and the tackle doesn't move. And they're still going to rack up numbers. Just because they don't get a sack one game doesn't mean that they're not good.
Well, I mean, you can also attest that to Nick Bosa, because last year Nick Bosa sometimes didn't get a sack a game, but he did really well like the whole year.
Well, yeah, I didn't say Nick Bosa was bad. I'm just saying that Chase Young is much better coming out.
I know you're not saying Nick Bosa is bad. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm just saying like I feel like Nick Bosa is like top tier now. Okay, who do you think is gonna win Defensive Rookie of the Year? I know I'm jumping around, and I was supposed to stick to the draft, but like Who do you think's winning defensive and offensive rookie of the year? Or
Defensive is gonna be Chase Young. He's gonna, even on the Redskins with no help on defense, he's gonna cause waves. He's gonna be good. And that defense favors edge rushers so much. So much. Like, hasn't J.J. Watt won it a bunch of times? Aaron Donald, even though he's a defensive tackle, has won it mostly based on his sack numbers.
Yeah.
Like, sacks are huge for it. That's why Landon Collins didn't win it in, like, 2016.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have a lot of sacks. He just had, like, a bunch of tackles and interceptions and pass defense.
My guess here is Chase Young, of course, would probably win it. But I feel like Jeff Okudah, because he's a really good corner, or Isaiah Simmons.
A corner isn't going to win it.
Or Isaiah Simmons.
Mm-mm. I can't see anyone but an edge rusher winning
Well, Isaiah Simmons is
like one of those awards.
Isaiah Simmons is technically an edge rusher.
No,
He
he's
plays
going to be
linebacker.
played as a linebacker.
He plays as linebacker.
He's
but
going to
he
either
also
be
passes.
played as a linebacker or a safety, and either of those positions, he's going to pass rush, but he's going to be more of, at his best, he's going to be Jamal Adams. At his absolute best.
Okay.
I wanted him
that.
coming out, but he's not going to be a full-time edge rusher. Like, that's not what you're going to get an athlete who can play every position to do.
Well, okay, I understand that. I see where you're coming from that. Because I know, like, isn't Jadeveon a linebacker?
He's the difference between an edge rusher and, I mean, the problem is that some edge rushers are outside linebackers and some are defensive ends, depending on if you're running a 3-4 or a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Jadeveon Clowney is technically an outside linebacker, but he's an edge rusher. Isaiah Simmons is a linebacker in the true sense of being a linebacker.
Okay.
Though he can rush the passer, he can play cornerback, he can play safety.
Okay. I can see where you're going from that. Next up, Jeff Okudah, number 3.
Best cornerback in the draft. Watching his combine tape is, oh my god. There's that one drill where, like, you have to, he's backpedaling, but he's changing directions, like, to the right and left, like he's flipping his hips, and it's just, watching that, I'll have to send it to you, it's just so fluid. Like, it's like mesmerizing just watching him run. He moves so crazy well.
Do you think he's going to fill the hole of Darius Slay?
Easily.
Easily.
Darius Slay is still great, but not what he was. And even what he was, I thought was not as good as the hype he got sometimes. And I think that Okudah, not necessarily in his rookie year, because it's hard to play cornerback and you need a bit of adjustment, but eventually he'll be up there.
I would agree with you on that. I think I would 100% agree with you on that. Because cornerback is a hard position, and plus, he's only a rookie. So he needs some time to learn, of course. But I feel like he's going to become a really good player. Because I was seeing what everyone, like, I've seen what articles said about him. Best corner in the draft, obviously. But, like,
he might be the best college corner that I've seen in my, not many, but quite a few years of looking at the draft. I don't really know what to say there, but, like, I've been following the draft for several years, and he's probably the best I've seen.
That says a lot. Right there. Best corner in the draft. All right.
There was a huge fall off after him, though, for the corners.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the corners in the first round. AJ Terrell, Damon Arnett,
God,
Noah
I still can't believe the
Ogunbowale,
Raiders drafted him.
and Jeff Gladney.
Yeah, the first round made me laugh so hard because all the teams made such stupid picks. Not all of them, clearly, but there were so many teams that their picks made me laugh out loud.
Which ones? Just name some of them.
A lot of the corner picks, because there were better defensive backs on the board. There were better corners on the board. Off the top of my head, I can't think of them, but like half the ones that you named, Arnett especially, I'll say that one for now. Why Nobody was picking him anywhere near there. Nobody. And yet, here the Raiders are thinking, oh yeah, this is our guy in the first round. And who knows, maybe teams were high on him, and the ESPN broadcast tried to be high on him, but even they couldn't really keep it together.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a weird pick. He wasn't going for a while.
Well, then again,
I think
the
his
Raiders,
best attribute was being teammates with Okuda.
Well, then again, the Raiders do like to pick some pretty odd picks, so...
Yeah, but Ruggs was a good pick. Like, I liked Ruggs.
Yeah.
I thought that made sense. Even though I would have taken, like, Judy and Lamb over him probably, I understand the value in getting Ruggs for Derek Carr.
Well, also, like... Was CD on the Winslow? I don't... No, wait. Yeah, CD... Do you think CD would have been a better pick, too? Than...
Yeah, I said Judy and Lamb.
Oh.
I thought.
Oh, I thought you just... Oh, yep, you did. Never mind. Me, big dum-dum. When you said lamb, I didn't think of CD. I thought of, like, the food.
Oh.
I'm very hungry, if you couldn't tell.
Mm.
Alright.
Anyway, continue.
Next up, we talked about Andrew Thomas. Next up is Tua. I'm not even gonna try to even pronounce that last name.
Just go with Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
Honestly, this is a really hot take, but I would take him for Offensive Rookie of the Year over Burrow. 10 times out of 10.
Ooh, that is a spicy one.
He's not a better quarterback. I would never say he's a better quarterback, but he's good enough with a much better team and coaching staff around him that he's going to put up better numbers. Burrow is good. He's really good, but he's not going to carry the Bengals to become a better team magically. And believe me, they're not getting there on their own.
Yeah, they need some serious help at this point. But,
that's my only opinion on Tua. I think that he's healthy. I think that he's going to be fine.
I'll agree with you because he was what's it called? He did lead Alabama to a comeback victory over Georgia, which I found very impressive. Even though I hate Alabama because I just don't like them because they win too much. Just like the Patriots, they win too much.
He's the only quarterback from Alabama that I've seen personally that I think is like legitimately very good. Watching them against Auburn, because I was on the plane on the day of the Iron Bowl where Auburn beat Alabama.
Yeah.
And so I was watching it on the plane. The game was like ending right as I was landing, so it was like perfect timing. But the entire time I couldn't help but think that literally every Alabama quarterback except for Tua is absolute garbage. Because that was after Tua was hurt. And whoever was in was like, I don't even remember his name. It was like some random guy. But he was throwing to these, Pro Bowl potential receivers. Like you've got Waddle, you had Ruggs and Judy, you have Smith is on Bama, right?
Who?
I think it's like Devontae Smith.
Let me look it up.
I don't remember though, but like some amazing receivers, and yet the quarterback was holding them all back so much. And that's just a classic Alabama thing. But then with Tua, you had him making the others better.
Devontae or Devonta?
I guess Devonta.
Because Devonta is the class of Alabama 2021 recruiting. He's a DB.
A DB. Yike. Who was I thinking of then? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But Tua... I was just getting to the point that Tua is the only quarterback I've seen that elevated the receivers instead of the receivers elevating the quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are we moving on to now? Is it
It is. Let me go back to the tab. I think we're gonna do the top 10 and then the rest next thing. But the Chargers select Justin Herbert. Quarterback.
Ooh, I don't like Herbert at all. I think that he's gonna do fine in LA, not San Diego. Man, I wish it was still San Diego. I think he'll do fine in LA. I think that he has a very good team around him, and Phillip Rivers is completely washed because he's playing for the Colts now. So I think that he'll do well, but he's Trubisky on steroids. That was I think Brett Coleman called him something along those lines, but it's like it's literally Mitch Trubisky with a stronger arm.
So inaccurate, kind of.
Inaccurate, makes bad decisions, has the arm talent, but just the rest of it isn't there. And he's, in my mind, too much of a project to be worth picking 6th. Like, if you're picking him 6th overall, that's got to be your for sure future.
Yeah.
As someone who had their team pick a quarterback 6th overall that the majority of people didn't agree with, I would know.
Well, okay. The Giants quarterback isn't that bad.
No, Daniel Jones is really good.
Like,
He, coming out, he fell victim to the fact that people didn't actually watch his tape necessarily. They looked at the stats, and the team around him was pathetically bad to the point where the stats didn't show anything special. He looked like an average lower tier school quarterback. But then you watch the film and you see all the shit he had to deal with. Like, I don't think his offensive line could block anyone. I don't think his receivers could catch a pass. Like, it was at the point where he had to pretty much carry that offense.
yeah.
So then seeing that how well he did, how accurate he was, and how his arm was actually pretty solid when you like went in and watched the tape. I mean, he doesn't have like the best arm. He's no Mahomes, but he's got a good enough arm and he's got a good deep ball. But seeing all that made me think like, wow, this guy, as opposed to like Murray or Haskins, who had everything given to them at bigger schools,
Yeah.
you know, like they had actually good teammates. He had to carry Duke to be good at all. And yeah, he was not Duke. That's why his team was absolute garbage.
Facts.
And so I was mad, and then I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, actually, out of the whole QB class, this guy is the guy I want carrying an awful Giants team to some wins. He's used to not having anything, and he's going to be able to continue to try to succeed with little.
Okay.
Like, he might have been the only QB prospect in that draft whose surroundings were significantly better compared to the people he was playing than at school. Like, instead of going from the best team to the worst team, he went from a really bad team to a slightly less bad team.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback, so I'll give you that. It was a good pick. Though, who was the coach 2 years ago? Wasn't he?
It was Shermer.
Oh, then never mind.
He got fired.
Who was the guy who benched Eli? Was that this year or last
That
year?
was McAdoo. And
Yeah, McAdoo.
I always get mad when people say benched Eli without the other context.
Well, okay.
You've pushed my anger button.
Okay.
Because he benched Eli to give other quarterbacks a chance to play in a lost season and see what they had in the QB room. But because Eli had the games played streak, everyone got really mad about it. So then the only one that ended up getting their shot to play was Geno Smith. Because Davis Webb was a rookie at the time, and he was supposed to get... I think Geno Smith was supposed to get one game to see if he was a viable backup still. And then it was going to be Davis Webb from there on out.
Yeah.
According to Webb and McAdoo.
Huh.
But then it turned out just being, he benched Eli for Geno Smith because, the team, after getting all the backlash about benching Eli, just went right back on it and, put Eli back in.
Yeah. I mean, I would have given Webb a chance. I would have just screw everyone else, and I would have given Webb a chance. Only because, like, it's hard for a coach because you don't. Because
I mean, I believe me, I wanted McAdoo gone at the same time because he had lost the locker room, but I'm not upset with him for that decision.
oh no, I think it was a good decision just to test out the quarterbacks, but I mean, I guess people like a lot of people like especially like Giants fans, I guess took it too far. Well, not took it too far, but they just like
I mean, Eli had been their quarterback for so many years that having him not be their quarterback before he actually retired was a shock.
I mean, I think it was a good idea by McAdoo. I feel like he should have just put it in Webb anyway, just to see like because is Webb a good quarterback? I don't. I wouldn't. I don't want to.
Well, after that year, because I think pretty much after that game that Eli was benched, they fired McAdoo and the general manager Reese. It was like mid-season that they got fired, and of course, right after that, Gettleman comes in and he replaces Webb with his own third-round Senior Bowl MVP quarterback in Kyle Lauletta, who is absolute garbage. Like, Webb is multiple times better, but I think Webb's now a backup or a practice squad guy for the Jets. And Lauletta got released, I think, and is like a practice squad guy for the Eagles.
Ooh.
But they're both awful.
Yeah.
Because Gettleman obviously stuck with his guy because he didn't draft Webb. And so I think Webb's okay, but it's not like spending his time as a backup on the Giants and Jets is doing him any good for his career.
I mean, yeah. I mean, plus it'll demoralize people. There are some people if you're not like playing every week. But next pick after Herbert is Derek Brown to the Panthers from Auburn.
Oh my! I thought that was hilarious. I thought they should have gotten Simmons. That's Derek Brown. I understand the hype for him, but you do not draft a run-stopping defensive tackle 7th overall.
Yeah.
Like, best case scenario, he becomes Snacks Harrison, who the Giants got like a 5th round pick for from Detroit. Yes, he was also older.
5th rounder,
but
Snacks.
It was like a 4th or a 5th. It wasn't really that relevant because it was mostly to just get rid of the salary. But he is a player that, having also watched him, yes, there are times that he could disrupt a college game, but even against not the best offensive linemen, like the interior line of Alabama, because I'll just go off that Iron Bowl game. Yes, he was like a game record towards the end of that, but I don't think as much of that was translatable to the NFL level. Like, he doesn't have the pass rush skills to succeed. He'll be a good run stopper, and he'll rush the passer at a point, but he is nowhere near an Aaron Donald at rushing the passer.
I'm just going to go off what you say because I don't know anything about him. I didn't even know who he was, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, he's a big nose tackle, defensive tackle. And he was very good at Auburn, like very good. But the way that he was good, I don't see him doing anything other than run stopping at the NFL level. And I don't care who you are, a run stopping defensive tackle is not worth a 1st rounder. Maybe a 2nd rounder it could be, but like, especially not that high of a 1st rounder.
So bad pick overall?
Yeah, I hated it.
All right.
Pretty much everything the Panthers have done since they hired Matt Rule, I haven't liked. And that's not because I'm salty the Giants didn't hire Matt Rule. I just genuinely think that they were bad moves.
What did they even do? I mean, I know they got rid of Cam.
Well, yeah, the way they got rid of Cam was harsh.
How'd they even
They
get
got
him
Teddy
from the
Bridgewater to run a deep passing scheme.
Why?
Get Jameis Winston. He's literally the best deep passer available.
Yeah, that's
Teddy
kinda-
Bridgewater is a good game manager. And I want him to do so well, but if you're throwing like a vertical scheme, take Winston, who just threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns in the Arian scheme. That's close enough.
Yeah.
Also spending every pick on defense, which like I admire the restraint that they showed there, but they didn't make good use of those picks.
Yeah.
I am no more scared of the Panthers defense than I was before.
Okay. Number 8 was Isaiah Simmons.
Good pick. Me likey.
I don't see. I'm gonna say, I hate that pick, and here's the reason why. It's because he went to the Cardinals. The Cardinals.
Oh, so you like him as a player, but
I
you don't
like
want him on
as
the
a
Cardinals.
player. I just want him on any other team that's not in the not in the NFC West. Any other player that's not or team in the NFC West, and I'm fine. Go
The good thing about the Cardinals is now they have two young jack of all trades players,
who?
one on each side of the defense.
Oh, Kyler.
Yeah, like they're both athletes that are good at playing their position too.
Like, Kyler's good. I like Kyler. I really do. I just don't like him when he does good against my team. And same with Isaiah Simmons. So when he stops George Kittle, because he's faster than him and probably more physical, I'm going to hate that. That's all. That's all I got to
I mean,
say.
you're talking about a guy that could man cover Marquise Goodwin
Exactly.
and then
He's
get a sack on the next play
exactly.
and then stop the run on the next play, even the Niners run scheme, and then cover and tackle
Here's
Kittle
the thing.
the play
The
after
Niners
that.
run scheme is adapting, all right? Like, the Niners run scheme, like, it's pretty much the same from before, but, like, it's, like, kind of much different because they use different, like, this,
But-
at least this year.
No, it's designed well. I'm saying that it's a good run game, but that he could still stop it
Oh,
based on his
100%.
athleticism and
that's-
instincts alone.
And that's not good. So personally, I would like it if they just not if they traded him immediately to the next team that wants him.
See, I have a proposition for you. Let the Panthers take back their pick and take him instead, and they can just trade Derek Brown to the Cardinals. That solves all of your problems.
Yes. Well, isn't Brown a run-stopping D tackle?
Yes, but I didn't think that the Niners did that much inside running. I thought that they tried to focus more on
The
outside.
Niners are inside-outside.
Yeah, but with the running back skill set would favor
Outside.
not running to him anyway.
Yes, I will agree with you on that. It does favor the outside run. All right, next up, number 9, C.J. Henderson, cornerback
I mean, he was the second best corner.
to the Jags.
He's fine. I don't have anything bad to say about him. Good athlete, which is really important at the corner position.
Yes,
He's on what, the Jags?
yes, the Jaguars,
That is the part I don't like.
who needed a corner. That's the only
Jaguars bad.
Jaguars.
I really hope that he demands a trade once his rookie contract's like almost up.
Why?
He needs to get out of Jacksonville. Well, look what happened when they were given good defensive players. What did they do with them?
They ruined their careers. Well, they didn't ruin them. They just didn't.
That's a
Yeah.
bad organization, just like the Bengals. That is not a place that I would want to be.
They were good for 1 year.
Well, they were good as a team, but the organization's just been bad. Like, there's a reason that all of those players demand a trade. There's a reason they all wanted out, and they were open about it. Like, the stuff with the fines that they got for nothing,
Well, wasn't
the
that,
treatment of the players by the front office.
okay,
Wasn't that what?
Wasn't the trades? Was the trades or the fines Tom Coughlin's thing, or was it someone else's?
I mean, it was Coughlin, but it was also the rest of the organization.
Okay.
Like Coughlin wasn't like a rogue agent. He was brought in, and everyone bought into what he was saying. Kind of.
Just like the Giants did
I-
in their Super Bowl runs.
Well, that's different. Coughlin was a coach for the Giants, and Coughlin also had a strong culture in the locker room. Coughlin went way too far in trying to establish the same culture he had at the Giants with another team. Because he tried to force them to become what the Giants were, and he couldn't do that. And the way that he went about doing that was really cruel to the players.
Here, you can take this gold ore and this iron ore.
Oh, thank.
Because I'm only taking the diamonds and the emeralds.
Okay.
Can I have all your diamonds and emeralds?
No.
Fine.
But you can have the ones I'm leaving behind.
Oh, that's what I've been doing. I've just been staying behind you and waiting till you're like out of reach so you don't take them. Because you've already taken like 2 emeralds and like a diamond from me. Because you're close.
Not from you, I'm just
Well,
mining.
not from you, but like when I mine at the blocks underneath you. All right, next pick. Jedrick Wilson.
Wills.
Jedrick Wills. Jedrick Wills.
Second best tackle. Me likey.
You like the pick. All right.
Yeah, but he's a right tackle, right?
I don't know. I don't know half these players.
As long as they put him at his natural position, which I'm like 90% sure is right tackle, then I'm all for it.
Okay. All right. See, I don't know many of the draft picks. I just know I knew Tua, I knew Jeff Okudah, I knew. Why did I just go out? Wait, what? I knew Okudah, CD, Tua, Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, Joe Judy, CD. I probably already said CD, but I'm gonna say him again, and that was it. That's all I knew from the first round. From like, I didn't know who they went to, but I knew them from like before the draft.
But yeah, I'm high on Wills.
Okay, good player, good pick. All right,
Yes.
that's gonna end it here. We're gonna do uno more, and then we're gonna go over the rest of the first round, and then the rest of the Niners and Giants draft picks. So, yeah, thank
Crispy.
you, crispy. Thank you guys so much for watching Prison Podcast. Yeah, have an amazing day, and peace.
Peace. Hey, I did it that time.
Yay.